Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop, and this is my first impressions look on the Anta Kai 1 Speed. So this is Kyrie Irving's kind of signature shoe, but it's like a different kind of line than his actual signature shoe. Of course, his signature shoe is the Anta Kai 1, which is a great performer. I really enjoyed playing in that shoe. But of course, this is the Kai 1 Speed, so it's supposed to be built for speed, and we'll have to see on what the differences are between the Kai 1 and the Kai 1 Speed. But yeah, this is also kind of like my first wear test. I actually got these in today, and also I did play in them today for a little bit, just a couple of games. I was also testing some other shoes out as well, like the Jaw 2s. So just a couple of, just a very short kind of first wear test. Again, couple games, but this shoe is retailing for $125, which is a pretty good price, and it's also available on like Foot Locker and also on Anta.com, and pretty much all the sizes are still available. So if you guys do want to cop, I try to leave in the affiliate link in the description box. If you do choose to get this shoe, it does help me out if you buy it through the affiliate link in the description box, or like the product pictures underneath this video, or try to leave it like right over here. And as always, thank you guys so much for all the support. But let's get it started right off with the tracciones, and the traction pattern is pretty interesting. So here in the forefoot, we have this very irregular and very abnormal shape with kind of like a herringbone traction pattern. But it's pretty interesting because where the lines intersect, it doesn't actually connect where the lines are. It's a pretty cool pattern. And then for like the gum rubber, we have like a herringbone traction pattern with a lot of triangles and stuff like that. And then here in the heel, we have the Kyrie Irving logo, which is like upside down, so, and also here in the midfoot, we can see the midfoot shank plate. Of course, it's just TPU, it's just plastic, and also we can see the N2 foam, or the Nitro Edge foam. But yeah, how does the traction feel? So when I first got it, I was like, yo, these feel super duper nice. It has a very nice, super loud, very high pitched squeak, which of course has nothing to do with performance. But for all my hoopers that love to have a nice, loud, high pitched squeak, this shoe has got you covered. And then I kind of like walked around a little bit inside of my apartment, and then I was just testing out the traction on my wood floors, and it was kind of sliding forward a little bit, just a tiny bit. Like for example, in like the Jordan 31, and like the Fresh Foam BB V2, I believe it was. Those shoes have a very loud squeak, but it just kind of goes forward a little bit. It slides forward, and then doing lateral movements, it has a really good stop, right? So I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. I don't really like that all too much. But then I played in it today, and I just broke it in just a tiny bit, but I didn't really have any huge issues with that. So the traction is feeling pretty dang good so far, and hopefully, just like in the regular Kai 1, when I first got the Kai 1, it wasn't that good, but then once I broke it in, it got really, really good. Hopefully it's the same thing here in the Kai 1 Speed. And as far as the durability goes, I feel like durability isn't going to be the best because the rubber is actually kind of soft. It's very pliable. You can easily move it with your fingernail. But there are a lot of grooves, and the grooves are kind of deep, so I don't think it'll be terrible, but it just doesn't seem like it'll be the best, even though it says on their tech specs on the website that it is kind of like more wear resistant. So just be careful with that. And also another added bonus of the outsole is there's a little bit of an outsole curvature, right? So the rubber comes up to wrap around here into the medial side of the shoe, and when you're doing these types of movements, you get better grip, right? Which I really like. There's not that much curve, however. There's a little bit of a rounded shape, but it's mostly flat, right? Super duper flat here, and then it kind of rounds right here, you know what I mean? Which is kind of different from like the Nike Kyries, like the Kyrie 2, 3, and 4, where this from like right here it would curve in, so just a little bit of a difference there. But the traction is feeling pretty dang good so far. And now moving on to the heel to toe transition, also feels pretty dang smooth, right? So here in the heel, we have a very, very soft foam, and it's pretty much fully exposed. It's a little bit caged by this plastic piece, but it's very, very soft. It doesn't feel really clunky at all. And then coming here into the forefoot, we also have a very nice curved shape and a lot of forefoot flex. And it's actually very easily flexed, but there's a little bit of springiness, so it's not super duper just kind of like dead here in the forefoot. For example, in like the Kobe 9s, the Kobe 8, where it's just very, very flexible, this has a little bit of spring back, and also torsional support seems like it'll be very good. Of course, we have this midfoot shank plate, right? And also we have another plastic piece right here, kind of like where your arch is. So torsional support seems really good, and it doesn't really bend at all in the midfoot either. So yeah, heel to toe transition feels very, very smooth. And now moving on to the the cushioning setup. So it's pretty much using full-length nitro edge or full-length nitrogen foam. But as far as like the foam, like this purple foam, I'm not 100% sure what that is, because if you look from the bottom of the shoe, it's actually like white. And if you look at this foam very closely, it doesn't look like, you know, the N2 foam. But when I press it with my finger, it's extremely soft, like super duper soft, and also pretty thick, you know? So as far as the overall heel compression goes, there's a lot of heel compression. It's soft, it's very, very comfortable. And as far as the court feel goes, however, it's okay, right? So here in the heel, it is pretty high up off the ground. It's like, I would say a little bit higher up than normal, but then here in the forefoot, we actually have good court feel, right? Feels pretty low to the ground. So we have a pretty high offset. And then as far as the insole goes, the insole is pretty nice. It's actually a pretty thick foam, so that feels very nice for step and comfort. But then underneath that, we can see a pretty stiff strobe board, right? And it's pretty dang glued down. And also in the midfoot, you can see the midfoot shank plate, right? It kind of starts right here. Kind of starts right over here and extends into the forefoot just a tiny bit. Just with that kind of darker part, it's plastic, of course, so step and comfort in the midfoot isn't as nice, of course. And then the heel gets a little bit softer as well as the forefoot, but it's not, you know, a soft mesh strobe board, so it's not amazing for step and comfort and underfoot cushioning right now. Hopefully it breaks in a little bit, but I feel like, you know, with this type of strobe board, it's not going to get as soft as like a softer mesh strobe board, you know what I mean? Like every single other shoe that Anta has, pretty much, like the even the Zap 2, you know, the Kai 1. So that kind of sucks, but it is the Kai 1 speed, you know what I mean? So you want a little bit more responsiveness, which I guess a stiffer kind of underfoot feel gives. So the cushioning setup is feeling pretty nice so far. It's just the underfoot cushion isn't as good as I would like it, but it's still pretty nice. It's still pretty soft. And for 125 bucks, I feel like it's really good, right? So there is the cushioning setup there. Moving on to the upper. So the upper is very, very nice. Look at this. It's an embroidered material, and it's a Native American inspired embroidery. And it's literally embroidered for the entire upper, right here in the toe box, and also coming all the way here into the midfoot as well on both the lateral and medial sides. So that's actually very nice, because doing embroidery, especially this much, is pretty dang expensive. And this is only 125 bucks, right? So with this, it actually feels really supportive. You know, it doesn't, you know, stretch at all, and also feels pretty like robust and kind of stiff. It's more as in like stiff or supportive, right? But also it's a pretty thin material, and there's really no pinching. It conforms to my foot very, very well here in the forefoot as well. And where the upper flexes, there's really no uncomfortable pinching either. So I really like this material, and also the quality is pretty dang nice. And going around the tip of the toe, we have a pretty thick layer of fuse, which of course is going to be good for durability for toe drags and also overall support. So I really like the overall material here in the toe box and also in the midfoot. It seems like they glue it down a little bit more, and it actually feels a little bit more sturdy and supportive here in the midfoot. And also, of course, we have this plastic piece. It has this really nice gradient on it, and that'll act as a sidewall for lateral containment. And then for the tongue, we have Kyrie Irving's logo here on top of the tongue, but also it has a good amount of padding. It's very well padded, and the material is pretty dang nice. It's like this very nice kind of like stretchy neoprene material. So on top of your foot, it's really comfortable and very, very cozy. It's also a half booty construction tongue, giving you a better overall one-to-one fit. And then here in the ankle area, we actually have Achilles pads. We got 2 on both sides of the ankle, and it has a good amount of padding, and it's really comfortable and very, very cozy. So I really like the overall material. And then here in the heel, we have like a synthetic leather material, which isn't great for quality, but we have this plastic emblem with Kyrie Irving's logo, and on the medial side we have the Anta logo. So yeah, I really like the material. It's just a really good blend of making the material feel pretty minimal but also very supportive here in the toe box and also in the midfoot. But in the ankle area and on top of your foot, it feels very nice and comfortable and cozy. And like I said, the quality is pretty dang nice. So there's the upper there. Moving on to the fit, I went true to size, and this shoe fits me perfectly, right? So I don't know what it is. Every single Kyrie, like even the Nike Kyries, they fit me extremely well. Maybe my foot shape and Kyrie's is pretty similar, but yeah, here in the toe box, it's a pretty dang nice snug fit. It's not super duper snug, but you know, I can curl my toes up just a tiny bit, but it's just the perfect amount of snugness for me. Lengthwise, I'm good to go going true to size, and also widthwise, it's around normal to slightly narrow. It's not pinching the side of my foot really at all. It's just a really nice, perfect fit for me personally. So, and it fits very similarly to the Kai 1. So if you know what size you are in the regular Kai 1, get pretty much the exact same size in the Kai 1 Speed. It's pretty much the exact same fit. Also, we have a very high heel tab, which makes the shoe extremely easy to just slide on. So there is the fit there. Moving on to the support and lockdown. Yeah, I mean, it's Kyrie, you know? So he's gonna be doing crazy lateral movements, crazy crossovers, crazy cuts. So when you're doing these types of movements, you need the shoe to be very supportive on the lateral side of the shoe, right? And of course, like I said, this material is very supportive, but also here in the midfoot, we have this plastic piece coming up acting as a sidewall. And here in the forefoot, we have a little bit of fuse to stiffen up the material. And I guess a little bit of the outsole coming up as well. And then here in the heel, we have an internal TPU heel counter as well as the foam coming up a little bit acting as a sidewall. So lateral containment feels like it'll be very good. And then for lateral stability, I mean, there's not a crazy outrigger, but it is a pretty wide base. You know, it does protrude out a little bit here on the lateral side in the forefoot. So lateral stability feels like it'll be very good. It doesn't feel unstable at all. And then overall lockdown felt really nice. You know, I'm not really experiencing any type of heel slippage, especially since there's these crazy Achilles pads. And once I tighten up the laces, it feels really nice and secure so far. So support and lockdown feels really good. And now moving on to the weight of the shoe. So hopefully the Kai 1 Speed is light because, you know, if you're talking about speed, usually it kind of ties into a weight, you know, and how lightweight the shoe is. But it doesn't feel super light, but I'm guessing like 11.5 to 12 ounces, I think. Oh yeah, 11.9 ounces. Let's check the other shoe. 11.85 ounces. So yeah, it is a little bit lighter than average. The average weight of my shoes is around 12.5 ounces. So, and if I remember correctly, the Kai 1 was like 12.5 to 13 ounces, I think. So it definitely is a little bit lighter than the regular Kai 1, but it's not super lightweight. You know what I mean? For example, like the Jaw 2 that I was playing in today, the Jaw 2 is like freaking 10 point something ounces. There's a pretty big difference in how it feels, but you know, the Jaw 2 is just really smooth and kind of like not super supportive, but the Kai 1 Speed, I feel like it blends everything together a little bit better. It's still pretty lightweight with the material being pretty like thin and minimal while still feeling very cozy and comfortable, and the traction feels good so far. And also the cushion is comfortable overall while still having a little bit more of a responsive feel for underfoot cushion. So I feel like it blends everything well a little bit more than like the Jaw 2, for example, right? But like more all around play, you know, for guards and also bigger dudes who prioritize support a little bit more, right? So there's the weight there. Moving on to the aesthetics, I feel like it looks pretty good. Not a huge fan of the embroidery, you know what I mean? It's a little bit too much. I think it just goes a little too crazy for me. I'm more of a simple design kind of guy. So yeah, all the Kyries literally do that, or I guess like the Anta, like the Shockwaves, the Kai 1 Speed, and the Kai 1. So, but I feel like the overall design does look pretty dang good. You know what I mean? I especially like the Anta logo here on the lateral side. It's a very simple kind of like outline of it. So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, yeah, I don't know, honestly, like the Kai 1 Speed and the Kai 1 feels pretty dang similar. You know what I mean? It's not that different. So I mean, since the Kai 1 is a very, very nice performer, the Kai 1 Speed is probably going to perform very well too. Just there's a couple of minor differences. But overall, it's feeling pretty dang good so far. And I'm very excited to keep playing them and testing them out. So of course, stay tuned for the full performance review. But my first impressions of the shoe are that the Kai 1 Speed feels pretty dang nice so far. But anyways, that about concludes my first impressions look on the Kai 1 Speed. Again, if you guys want to cop, I'll try to leave in the link in the description box. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.